The spectacular now. A hard-partying high school senior's philosophy on life changes when he meets the not-so-typical nice girl. Starring Miles Teller from 21 and Over and Project X, and Shailene Woodley from The Secret Life of an American Teenager and The Descendants. Directed by James Ponsoldt, who did Smashed last year. Did you see Smashed, Bob?
I did not. I only heard about it because I heard about this movie, to be honest.
Oh, well, I'm still claiming my 2012 mulligan. But I remember it caught my eye last year, and I think I might just reach back and check it out.
Cool.
Anyway, it's written by Scott Neustadter and Michael H. Weber, the team who brought you 500 Days of Summer.
Which I did see, and I did love that movie.
So, we've got a good creative team behind it. Give us your mini review, Bob.
Okay, The Spectacular Now. I gave The Spectacular Now a 3.5 out of 5, and here's what I had to say about it. Polarizing, with some aspects handled beautifully and other aspects handled poorly. It's too much a mix of coming of age plus nothing, often boring but charmingly so.
All right, sounds good. Ready for mine?
Yeah, let's hear yours.
Such a great step-by-step building of a high school relationship. Unbelievable chemistry between Miles Teller and Shailene Woodley. The coming-of-age parts fell a little short and kept this from being a perfect movie. 4.5 out of 5.
Whoa, that's pretty high. That's pretty high. I like it.
Yeah, well, as you may have noticed, it managed to reach above my 4-star line, which signals going above and beyond my own personal rating system.
Right. Only a minor caveat or two rather than any sort of major ones.
Well, see, I guess that's the point. The caveats can be bigger as long as it goes above and beyond. And what went above and beyond for me was I just loved the relationship between Sutter and Amy and the chemistry between the actors, Miles Teller and Shailene Woodley. It absolutely crackled for me. It
Mm.
brought me back to what high school is like perfectly. And it's not that my high school experiences were just like theirs, but the feelings of excitement and potential and liking people it's not necessarily cool to like and creating your own shared things that are just about your relationship. Just so many things. I love that part.
Nice. Glad to hear it. I love the passion. No, I agree with you. I thought that was really well done. Their interplay, the way that they met and built upon getting to, the process of getting to know each other in high school, really well done. The movie captured that really nicely.
Yeah, and the first time I realized they had something great in that particular component was it was before they were officially together, and they go to this outside party by a lake. Sutter and Amy go take a walk in the woods, and he introduces her to the joys of drinking from a flask, for one thing.
Sure.
But but she says she was just accepted into college but can't go because she couldn't leave her mom. And he tries to get her to stand up to her mom and go to college, and it's nothing at all like this description I'm giving because it's all built around just the great chemistry. But when I saw that scene, I knew I was watching something special in the way it portrayed that relationship.
Yeah, and that scene was filmed almost entirely in one take.
Yeah.
If you noticed, I mean the really interesting pan and follow them walking through the woods type thing, and lots of very natural looking environments and conversation. It felt very real. If anything, this movie was very real, almost like I said, boringly so in some ways, but nonetheless, it did take me back to high school too in terms of relationship building and getting to know people in that way.
Yeah, and we saw the relationship grow and evolve through a bunch of phases. I had heard about the awkward first-time sex scene, and it was good in not being the classic never had sex but somehow it works perfectly type sex scene we get a lot. They meet each other's families, they go on a road trip together. I just love everything how that relationship evolved through the movie. But it's a coming-of-age story, Bob, and I know you are often wary of those. How did you feel about this one?
I thought it was too much a coming of age story. So the main character,
What he came of too much age?
well, it was just all about him, and he almost he came too little of age, I guess.
Okay.
He was pretty reckless. The whole point is he lives in the moment, but he doesn't realize the downside to that. We only see the upside for the first half of the movie in a way, and then he starts to have to deal with his own demons of what living in the moment really means in terms of, the sacrifices you make by not planning ahead and hurting people's feelings when you don't follow through on plans that you didn't know you had or forgot that you had or just don't care. So I don't want to skip ahead to the ending or anything. I just felt, the payoff, the way he comes of age or learns things or deals with becoming an adult, really didn't work for me at all. But the process, the first half, was more interesting in terms of just seeing that high school uh, reality come together.
Yeah, I'm actually with you. If there was one part that didn't quite do it for me, it was, you know, especially a certain part of the coming of age, and that was how Sutter's dad played into the coming of age part of the story. Now, he's played by Kyle Chandler. I love Kyle Chandler, and it was interesting to see him in a much different role.
Right.
But it didn't work narrative for me. Like you say, his Sutter's motto is live in the now. You know, he spends most of his time drunk, and he's happy to coast through life. But he meets his dad, and I guess he sees things in his dad that I guess remind of himself. But I wasn't quite sure what, because obviously his dad wasn't as amazing as he hoped he would be, but I didn't see how his dad's issues necessarily meant that he would develop the same issues. Or at least if I'm trying to put myself in Sutter's position, I would be able to say, no, 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 my dad is not how I'm going to turn out. Uh, I don't know. So like I say, it just didn't quite work for me. I don't want to get too much into the show's details, um, but I didn't get how that affected everything.
Huh, that's interesting because I actually had a different reaction. His interaction with his dad felt like it was a decent enough um, stimulant to have him re-examine where he stands in life and what he wants to get out of life, and start to question his behavior as it relates to how he sees himself and his dad. That worked okay for me. What didn't work for me is how the movie treated all of Sutter's problems. So he has a drinking problem. Um, he has a problem with just general responsibility and following through. He has a problem with being there for people. There's even a subtle, in that same scene you mentioned earlier, I mean, he just doesn't care about things that other people who consciously care about more than themselves care about. Like he has a littering problem, which I know is super minor, but it plays into his character really well. Um, he has, what else? He's just a party guy who's there to have a good time. He goes to parties. He's failing out of some classes, which is another problem. He may not be able to even graduate, and the way they try to resolve that or not resolve it is irrelevant in the end, but it's a problem. So he has all these problems as being this carefree guy that is charming and fun on the surface, but really is messed up. And then he meets his dad, and then he wants to re-examine his life, and nothing comes out of that. Like, you don't see any of those issues that I just spent way too much time listing resolved or re-examined in a way that would make him change. The movie just fast forwards to like, therefore he came of age somehow. Like, oh wait, what happened in that like 2 minutes?
Oh, well, because what happens is he reacts in a certain way that ends up with the scary, serious event that happens. Not to ruin anything, but again, I didn't see the line from meeting his dad to why that happened that ended up. I thought that scary event is what made Sutter reevaluate everything. So it was like indirectly his dad, and then this thing, and then whoa, I got to change.
Sure, and yeah, I guess we have to dance around that scary event because I thought it was a bit of a cheap shot of the movie, the
Yeah,
way that
I agree.
they played it out and made it make you feel like something's going to happen that's super serious, and then it's not quite as serious as it appears to be at first. And I agree, yeah, that seems to be the pivotal point where he starts to reevaluate things, but he almost recreates that same event again. Like he doesn't learn anything from it. At the same time as it's the thing that stimulates him to change. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
as far as his coming of age, I didn't see how it happened.
Right, right. Now,
Oh, go
I,
ahead.
I wanted to ask you what you thought of Amy Finnicky, our heroiness. No, that's not the way you say it. Our
Our heroine.
heroine. The
Uh,
female lead is all I'm trying to say. Okay, I bombed that.
Loved her. In fact, I thought that was one of the main things I liked. The two leads, the kids, and their chemistry, just unbelievable. I absolutely loved everything about their relationship, and I thought both of them did a terrific job. Which it's
Yeah.
almost just to add on to that, almost surprisingly excellent given how young they obviously are. But when you're playing high school kids, I guess it's nice to come across as young. But I just rich, nuanced. I really loved everything about those two leads.
Well, so here's the thing. I really liked her a lot too. I thought she was portrayed well. It was a great character. The acting was great. But I thought she was almost the perfect girl. Like, imagine yourself in high school and you meet this girl. Um, did we see her have really any issue with anything? Like, she just was there to be manipulated or to just be the catalyst for the other lead to have enough change in his life to reevaluate some things, but she never really stands up for herself. She never really does anything other than give in to all the stuff that Sutter throws her way, and she loves him for it. And maybe that's part of the point. I don't know. I almost liked her too much. She was great, but she was just like the girl that was never there in my life in high school. That was everybody has some flaws, and she apparently has zero by the way the movie portrayed her.
Yeah, she was just there waiting to be discovered, the proverbial diamond in the rough. You're right. I mean, it was probably a little bit romantic of an idea as far as if you look back to your high school memories. Obviously, no one's as cool as Sutter, and no one is just the perfect. What did I say in my synopsis? Not so typical nice girl. Um, but I don't know. It didn't bother me. I actually found myself at times identifying with her, but in a way that like I'd wish I'd been more like her, just like confident about the nerdy things that you like, willing to just say your opinions even if no one had discovered you yet. When they do, you shine. I don't know. You could probably get away with saying it wasn't perfectly realistic, but in a way that I enjoyed.
Okay, no, that's good. Yeah, and I guess I just wanted to see more character development or something about her that was more than just playing into. It really was one lead, and she was almost like a supporting role, in my opinion. Even though the movie sort of portrays it in the previews and as it starts as if it's going to be about both of them, but I think it's really only about one person. Uh,
But that is fair. I mean, when it comes to Oscar time, I imagine she would be eligible for the Best Actress category, though. From
sure.
that point of view, the one thing that I really wish we could have gotten that might have actually answered some of your criticisms was the way the movie ended really abruptly, with her about to do something or say something. I really wish I could have heard what that was she was about to say or do.
Yeah, this is the Inception effect, the movie ending with you being able to interpret it like 27 different ways, and the director or creative team being like, see, it's brilliant because it's so open to further discussion by everyone who just walks out of the theater. And yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but she could have said a lot of different things, and what she said would have shaded the way we view her character and her journey throughout the whole thing. But it robs us of that.
Yep, definitely.
So
Yeah.
there were a lot of great actors in the cast. I just wanted to mention that we've seen in other places, and they were all great. I'm thinking Bob Odenkirk as Sutter's boss and sort of surrogate dad. Already mentioned Kyle Chandler as Sutter's actual dad. Brie Larson as Sutter's former party girlfriend who's trying to be more grown up.
hmm
Love Brie. And Jennifer Jason Leigh's also in there.
Oh yeah, as his mom, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, anything more we need to hit on, Bob? My final take, I guess, is that the coming of age part has some flaws, and but they're more than made up for by the brilliant depiction of a high school romance and one of my favorite movies of the summer.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you liked it so much. For me, it was a little bit of a disappointment, but I think part of the issue here, Logan, is that this movie was like way overhyped. Like, I don't know why everyone and their dog thought it was the best movie ever, but that's the vibe I got before seeing it, and totally misses the mark from that perspective. If I went in with a above average, decent coming of age movie expectation, maybe I'd be less critical of it in the way I was in this review, but as it stands, I don't know that it deserves as much attention as being as brilliant and spectacular as everyone thinks it is. But you could do much worse. It's a good movie. I just had major caveats that I needed to throw out there in terms of the evolution of the main lead didn't work for me. But a lot of those other things, the relationship between the two of them, it was nice. So there you go.
Right on.